why I wrote it, and it's just gonna say this. So the next one, I don't have much to add here, which is something I added like
Is it
immediately
gonna be your
after
Delta
chapter 12.
cyborg body thing,
No, no,
or is that
no,
gonna
no,
be
no,
a...
no, 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 no.
Okay.
That's some other thing. So in fact, we could do that with Regan because he was there for that originally. But so Kamui,
That
you
one
can.
might take too long though. I think we should say that at the same time.
That's fine. That's fine.
I
I don't think it'd take
anticipate that
long.
being like a back and forth kind of thing.
Yeah, maybe. I don't think it'd take that long. We already talked about it, so who knows. But Kamui, the Shinjuu are just Ten Tails bodyguards. Thoughts?
For the most part, yeah. They also might be more than just bodyguard. Like, for example, you sign a mission to infiltrate the Stone Village. Like I think they have some offensive roles too.
Yeah.
Like, hey,
That's interesting.
go find the Otsuki, too as well. So they're not just bodyguards. They're
Because
also there to like get the Otsuki. Maybe
they are
some other
thorns,
things too.
but and thorns are like protective or whatever, but they're also mobile and like actively seeking to basically fulfill the request or desire of the Ten Tails, which is to bring an Otsutsuki to the Ten Tails, which a thorn wouldn't do that. So almost like
Yeah,
bees in this case. I kind of like that more. They're like the bees
they're
of the colony
pollinators.
hive. If the beehive is the Ten Tails, the Shinju are the bees. I do like that.
Oh, okay, but
Protect the
hear me
hive
out though.
and
In
attack for
the
the
way,
hive.
okay, but hear me out though. I've always, I could just be wrong, but I've always considered the Otsutsuki to be like the bees, the pollinators that spread the seeds. Because unless you want to say they're like the birds, but because they eat the chakra fruit, go to another planet, plant another tentacle, so they spread the seed of the tree. So I would consider to some extent,
Well,
granted, pollinator versus that is a little bit different. So we could just say the Shinju are the pollinators and the Otsuki are like the birds and whatever. That would also kind of work, I guess.
but
But
Kamui, I have a
just want to
perfect
throw it out there.
compromise for you. Otsutsuki Kaguya
Okay.
is the Ten Tails.
Yeah, we know. Well, but that's the point. But yes,
Yeah, so we're both right. I love it. Okay.
um,
But I do like your point that they aren't just bodyguards, they are going off to do their own thing. So I actually write about this in the Gara versus Kimimaro narrative analysis I have in my Kimimaro video. It's like the sword versus
ooh,
the shield. No, I know. This is a whole thing. I don't even want to go in the narrative gold geniusness of that, but it's so good, bro.
nah,
It's so
bro.
good.
I already know there's a chapter. It's I think it says a fancy word for shield, like began with the letter H. I forgot the word that it used. It's like I'm gonna say the wrong word if I say halberd versus shield, but it had some fancy name for a chapter, which is literally what you're getting at, sword versus shield.
So I'm
Um,
gonna
I can't
just
wait to
say
hear
the
that.
basic concept as simple as possible without any elaboration at all, which so much so to the point that you're probably just gonna disagree with me. Just don't do that so that I can make the comparison analogy. So in the Kimimaro video at this part, I'm basically explaining in as basic simple terms as possible that Kimimaro's mistake slash flaw is the fact that he's supposed to be like a shield, defending, protecting anyone from going after Sasuke, so that Sasuke can go to Orochimaru, so it's like Orochimaru shield. But in actuality, once Gaara gets there, he more so turns into more of a sword, for he's the one going after Gaara. In fact, Gaara is the one defending Lee.
Yeah, no, I
Comparing
agree with
that,
that.
okay, cool. Comparatively, the Shinju.
In fact, I love that.
Oh, thank you. Comparatively, right though? No, I know. And imagine when it's elaborated on in like high detailed prose, but comparatively, the Shinju you could say might have the same hypocrisy to where they're supposed to be the Ten Tails' bodyguards, but in actuality, doing their own things selfishly, like pursuing their targets, being more like the sword than the shield. That could be their downfall. The reason why in the end maybe they lose. Maybe even flying too close to the sun.
Yeah, okay, so
I
this
don't
one's
think it works
tricky
for them
because
as
I think
well.
there's
But
kind of like a Well, no, it does. So in a sense, I think it's essentially that they're going to be in the middle is why they'll lose. If they chose to be fully human, they would just be on the human side and win. If they chose to be fully Ten Tails slash tree, they probably would win as well. But because some of them will be stuck in the middle, so they're not being so in this, it still works in the sword versus shield sense, but it's like a slightly different thing. But yeah, the point is they're going to be like in that middle ground. That's why they'll lose, which is very much the same idea. You would have to just figure out the specific way to, so that you don't have like you know. But no, the idea I like.
Okay, perfect. I can't believe how much elaboration we got out of that, which I expected to just say and move on. Like, I thought there was going to be no elaboration on the Shinjuu are just Tails bodyguards. I'd like be like, yeah. They're like, what else?
Yeah. Yeah, the only problem is the fact that they're kind of like supposed to be the ones who bring the Otsutsuki to the Ten Tails, which isn't necessarily bodyguard work. It's more like grunt work, I guess. But I think
And also, it'd be kind of weird if the Shinju were like quote unquote narratively punished from trying to be their own unique entity, separate from the Tails. Like, it kind of works in Kimimaro's case because like he's supposed to be supporting Orochimaru and him going off to do his own thing, quote unquote, even if it's what Orochimaru would have coincidentally also liked. I think you know where like there is a difference there.
Yeah, it's in. That's where it's tricky, but because yeah, that's why I feel like the best way to phrase it is probably that middle ground approach, because it's not that they're being punished for being human, it's that they're punished for trying to be both
Well,
when they need to just pick.
let me clarify. It's because I don't think it's they have been punished. I think it's a thing of theoretically
I
they
know.
might be
They
punished in
will
the
be.
future. Yeah, they will be. Yeah. We're talking about like future events, not things that have already happened yet. Just for the comment section that didn't get that.
Right.
Yes. With that being said, I
I
feel
guess
like
the only one you could say is maybe Hidari was punished, but
well, no, that's what I was
not
gonna say. I
really.
think
He's brought
Hidari's
back.
the exact opposite of that, to where Hidari has been punished, not because he was pursuing Sarda, but because unlike Jura, Hidari wasn't able to
He
change.
wasn't
And
willing.
well, we'll get into it,
Yeah.
but yeah, what were you gonna say?
I was gonna say he was. It's on along the same lines. He was unwilling to learn from humanity
Mhm.
how to change, whereas Jura his way to try to learn from humanity how he could change, which
Yeah.
is really the same point.
And
It is more specific.
that's not to say that Hidari didn't change where Jura did. We're not saying Jura's changed yet. It's about the attempt or hope or desire thereof. It's the willingness to be able to, rather than the actual thing itself. That's what's valuable.
Yeah.
Okay. I can't believe how much we got out of that. I mean, yes, I can. It's us.
Yeah. Well, I don't think. I mean, I feel like it's a better topic than people would give it credit for.
Well, there you go. So